Hey everyone, this is Nikhil Chawla and we are outside the iconic Battersea Power Station here in London, where Apple just held their iconic Let Loose event, and this was the first time Apple launched anything outside of the US. So this was absolutely iconic event, and we saw a lot of new devices, the iPad Air, the iPad Pro, and the new accessories, the Apple Pencil Pro. But today we are here to talk to two senior executives from Apple Inc. So we'll be talking to Greg Joswiak, who's the Senior Vice President for Worldwide Marketing at Apple, and John Ternus, Senior Vice President, Hardware Engineering at Apple. So let's get going. So thank you, George and George, for joining me. And I want to know, how did you manage to do this at this iconic location? It was like a fabulous launch, but also a first time it happened outside of the US. You know, Apple has never launched a product outside of the US. So how did that go through?
Yeah, one of the things we've been really proud of is the pandemic actually caused us to rethink the way we do events, and we started to do video events, right, of our keynotes, which has worked out tremendously well because we can speak to the entire world at one moment, as we did yesterday, right? We launched that video at the same time everywhere, but we also had some press events to support it, so we could have conversations with folks like yourself. We did New York. We're doing here in London, we're actually doing Shanghai as well. So that we are able to have touch points where we can have these kind of conversations where we can get more intimate. We can talk more about the details or the questions that we can have, than just press events. But the beauty is everybody in the world sees the event at the same time. It's kind of cool.
And John, you made like a John Wick entry out of the screen. How did that go through? I mean, what kind of prep did you have to do for that?
For coming here to be able to talk at the London event?
Yeah,
I mean, it was just
like we were looking at you in the screen, and then you just walked out.
and then I just appeared. Yes,
It's kind of like that, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, John's great because look, we as I said, we changed the way we do our videos, and one of the things that you'll always see in our videos is we try to be very authentic as to who speaks to which products. It's always people who have worked on the products themselves. And we were very lucky to have not just the person who worked on the products, but the person who oversees all these products that we are introducing, which is John, who gave us a bit of his time so that we could have him go around in trains, we could have him in libraries, we could have him at different locations, and I think he did a brilliant job.
Thank you. And it's so exciting for me to be able to come here in London and get to meet folks like you and be a part of the whole thing. It's been very fun.
Thank you so much for doing that. Okay, I have a confession to make before we start with the questions. My creator journey started with Apple back in 2008 when I was standing in the queue outside, the Trafford Center in Manchester, getting my first MacBook Air, and later on in the iPhone 3G. And I am what I am today because of Apple. Because if it wouldn't have been there, I would have not been a creator today. And standing with you two. So thank you for that. Now talking about creators, you've been with Apple for almost 40 years now, right?
I have 38 years.
So Mac has been like kind of a default choice for creators for years, or creative people. And then we saw the transition happening with the iPad for the past 10 years. How do you see both of these devices unfolding and being there for creatives?
Yeah, I will say this, maybe to start. Serving the creative community and being creative is in our DNA. Steve used to talk about Apple being at the intersection of technology and liberal arts. That's the way we look at it. How do we enable, with great technology, incredible creation to happen in the world? And by the way, we're the same way within the company. How do we take incredible technical talent and combine it with incredible innovation, liberal arts thinking, and creation? That is our lifeblood. So whatever product we're trying to do, we always want to make sure that they make it easy for creators to create, or people who aren't even creators to do incredibly creative things that they didn't even know they were capable of, no matter which of our products we're doing that with. So that's just part of who we are, part of what we try to bring to our product experiences. And to your point, these new iPads, just like previous iPads, enable an incredible amount of creativity, especially you see with the Apple Pencil Pro. You saw Procreate, an incredible app with an incredible developer that allow you to do things on the iPad you really can't do anywhere else. Of course, the Mac has served as the creative community for many years. I always say if you're a creative customer and you're not using an Apple product, one of us screwed up.
Absolutely.
Right? Either you bought the wrong product, unfortunately, or I didn't do a very good job explaining it to you why the general creative community of the world tends to use Apple products. So.
Yeah, and I think that's right. I think the iPad's been an amazing journey. From the very first iPad, people kind of found opportunities to be creative. And then, of course, we added Apple Pencil. And we've been pushing it as the devices become more capable. There's more, the power of these tools now, the power of Procreate and Lightroom and all these other tools is just remarkable. And so we'd love to see that continue to grow.
No, I keep telling people and my viewers that, Apple has been working on AI for years now. It's not just in your face kind of AI, which other brands are doing, like pushing it on your face, but Apple has been silently working on AI. Like Siri would make suggestions, your calendar will remind you of your birthdays, and your map will remind you of your parking location. All of this has been happening in the background. And Apple is really strong on, machine learning and neural engines and AI. But what exactly is Apple now is gonna be the year where I've seen a lot of changes when you started mentioning AI in products like your MacBook Air when it came out, now the iPad with the iPad Pro with M4. So do you think that Apple will also be now kind of coming gung-ho about AI this year?
Well, I'm glad you mentioned the fact that we have been doing AI and ML
Forever.
Artificial intelligence and machine learning for many years.
Yeah.
So many years.
Yeah.
It was before people called it that.
Called it that,
We used to call it our proactive features.
Correct.
Right. It was proactive at knowing what you might want to do next. A good example of that is you swipe down on your iPhone home screen, and it shows you the apps you're most likely to launch.
Yeah.
Right, based on your behavior, based on
Right.
what it's learned about you. And we've been doing it for so many years. And to your point, it's always the features that it enables that's most important to us. But we certainly realize that, the topic of AI is more topical, if you
Yeah.
will. It's more in people's minds. And we want to make sure people are clear that we have fantastic devices
Yeah.
for AI and ML, and including, things that people are now discovering with the newer generation
Yep.
Of AI, that we have devices that are incredibly capable. We have had neural engines in our devices, for example, since the A11, so several generations ago. The PC industry is just finding that now, right? And they're starting to add things they call neural processing units, which very, very similar to our neural engine. So we have had experience of putting that in for years, as well as we have ML accelerators in our CPU. We have incredibly performant graphics processing units that all combine to say that we can do these things really better than any other devices in the world.
Yeah.
And then we, of course, have software capability that's beyond anything. And then certainly Tim has talked about the fact that you'll hear maybe more about some of the things we're doing with generative AI and LLMs maybe in the not so distant future.
Oh, lovely. So a lot to hear on, I think, WWDC.
I can't say, but hopefully I'll see you there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
To both of you, we see that iPad Pro has got the M4 now. It's like a leap forward what we've seen, and it gets like the fastest processing and all. You can also, throw some light on the sustainability factor and how the performance is not just about performance, but also how the battery life is enhanced or how the other cores work.
Yeah, I think there's many components to sustainability, and there's many things that we're working on to get to our Apple 2030, our goal to be carbon neutral across all of our products. And one is using recycled materials, right? So all these iPads, the Airs and the Pros have 100% recycled aluminum enclosures, recycled rare earth elements, and all the magnets. That's something we just continue to expand our recycled usage. The other one is efficiency, right? The more power efficient we make the device, the less energy it uses, the better it is for the planet. So that's a huge part of what we do. And M4 is a whole new level of power efficiency. And then I think one of the most fundamental things to what we do is we focus on product longevity, right?
Yeah.
The longer a product lasts, the longer someone can be using it. Maybe it's the first owner, maybe it's actually they've sold it to the second or third owner. We see that all the time. That's the best thing we can do, both for the customers and for the planet, is to make products that last. And so a huge amount of work goes into building and testing and refining and building these products that are so durable and so reliable. And so I think you'll find that with these iPads as well.
Which also factors into the economics for a user, right? As John mentioned, you might decide you're going to sell your current iPad because you're interested in one of the new ones, or your current iPhone because you're interested in a new one. We have developed a secondary market because of how long our products last, that they continue to have value down the road. And for us, that's exciting because it makes it easier for the user to purchase a new product, but it also makes it more affordable for somebody maybe to buy their first product.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if you bought an automobile and it could only last you for 3 years and then it died and you have to go buy a new one, right? And that's the way it is with a lot of devices, right? And for us, John and his team engineer them to last for so many years, and they can be, even if you give them to somebody in your family, they can last and last and last, which means that sometimes people might only compare the sticker price of something, but the reality is that when you look at the total cost of ownership over the length of time you can own an Apple product, it's actually significantly more affordable.
My 2008 iPhone and MacBook Air still works. They switch it on. It's still everything. So I can really vouch for the longevity of devices. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you so
Very
much.
important
Thank
to
you
us.
so
Yeah,
much.
no, thank you. What a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's great talking to you. Thank you.